Hey everybody, Tim and Chucky here for another Star Wars review. We are now phase 2, or at least what I consider phase 2. We're going to start with episode 1, the first prequel, The Phantom Menace, came out in 1999. So, Star Wars, the original series came out long before either one of us were born. This is the first actual Star Wars production, whatever, to come out in our lifetime.
Truth.
What is your first memory of it?
Seeing it in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that was weak, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, like, I got to see all the commercials and shit before it started getting released because we were on a military base and, like, it was supposedly near where it was shot. So, like, that base got shown the movie before the public. Supposedly. This is what I was told by my dad in the Army. But, yeah, so we got, like, an early showing of the fucking film before it was released, apparently.
Okay, see, that's interesting.
I don't know if this is true or not because I wasn't old enough to, like, you know, take.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's
notes
true.
on
It's
the
interesting.
dates and shit. But yeah, it was fucking cool.
So my first memory, because I'm slightly older than you, so the first trailer would have come out in like 1998. So I would have been like 10. I had dial-up internet, and like, God, do you remember like all of the discs, like 10 minutes or like 1 hour of free AOL, and they would just like shove them in your mailbox. So anyway, so I had like dial-up internet, and I remember sitting there at my computer because the computer was right next to my patio because I lived on the second story, and waiting like 2 hours for the trailer to just download. Yeah, like I was into it. I was like, this is going to be great. And just to finally watch the trailer, and I remember really liking the trailer, and like I kept refreshing it, and just like watching it in 1 second increments, and then finally watching the entire thing. Like when the androids come out of the fog and stuff, losing my shit, and I don't know, I was super excited.
The movies are great from 1999. Fuck.
Yeah. So, I think we did this before. One of my problems with the prequels is for the original trilogy, it's relatively unknown people. Like there are some famous people in there, but they're mostly kind of unknown at the time. I have this big ass list that I'm going to go down. There are so many famous people packed into this movie. Like we got Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, who at the time had done like Train Spotting and really raunchy stuff. Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley are both in this movie as Padme. And they look like, I to this day confuse them between Natalie Portman. Like Natalie Portman is in like the Thor movies, and Keira Knightley is in like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But it's not the same woman.
It was them when they were younger.
But they're both in this movie because they look so much alike. Ian McDiarmid comes back as Palpatine in this. Ray Park, do you know who Ray Park is? So Ray Park was the physical body of Darth Maul.
Okay.
He played Toad in the X-Men movie.
Oh shit, really?
And then he was in like the last season of Heroes. He played one of the carnival people.
That's funny as fuck. I love that season.
Brian Blessed as Boss Nass. He was in like the original Flash Gordon movie. Terrence Stamp shows up, who's great. Warwick Davis has a cameo in the pod race. And then, of course, last but not least, how do you come up with, okay, it's been like 16 years since we've done a Star Wars movie, and the number one actor we're going to get is Samuel fucking Jackson. Like, I don't know, to me, that is just so far out of left. Like, he's great as Mace Windu, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But it's so, like, why? Like, I don't know, it's just
Why
weird.
him?
Why him? It's weird to me. He's great.
There was somebody that they wanted, and then, like, he got on board with the movie. I forget. There was some shit I heard about it.
Lots of different stuff. E.T. aliens have cameos.
Yeah, that was fucking man. Later.
Like,
I didn't know that when I first watched it. But it's fucking crazy.
So I haven't. So you rewatched the movie. I did not rewatch this movie because I feel like I don't need to. When the movie first came out, Yoda was still a puppet in all of his scenes. And then I've heard since the re-release of like Blu-ray and stuff like that, he is now CGI'd in there. Did you see the puppet or did you see the CGI?
I watched the Disney Plus version, so I think it
It was probably the CGI.
It seems CGI.
Yeah, it was probably CGI. So for the movie overall, prequel, I don't know, 30 years before the first movie or episode 4. I don't know. What stands out to you? What do you like? What do you dislike? What do you think about it?
I mean, it's the first time you see a double-end lightsaber. That was the coolest shit, like, on the planet.
And the music in the background's so good too. When they're doing the fight,
phenomenal. And then when you got Liam Neeson in there, fucking just slaying people.
Mm-hmm.
Jar Jar Binks was the funniest shit. Honestly, I loved him.
Really?
A lot of people don't like him. I thought he was a great comedic aspect to the movie without it being like overly like this is comedy.
Yeah,
like he was just kind of stupid, but it was funny.
Like I don't like so the actor who plays Jar Jar Binks he didn't commit suicide. He was suicidal for a while because he got so much hate. I did not like Jar Jar. I don't think Jar Jar's that interesting, but the thing that people I feel like don't realize is Star Wars is kind of aimed for kids. And so Jar Jar is kind of that like, oh, let's laugh at him type character.
He's the comedy relief.
But yeah, he was a little too much. I think even as a kid, I was like, he's just kind of odd.
No, I loved him.
Really? Oh, that's good.
Big weird flappy ears and shit. Nice. Cool.
I do remember as a kid loving the scene where he kept eating stuff off the table, and then Qui-Gon Jinn catches his tongue, and he's like, stop. And he's like, oh shit. Like I remember laughing really hard at that scene. Another actor, the actor who plays Anakin, has had some serious mental trouble over the years, and again blames this movie. Again, I didn't hate him. I didn't like him, but I didn't hate him. I thought he was okay.
I don't understand how working in a movie for maybe a year of your life harnesses serious mental stability.
It's more of the aftermath. Like, so he was a little kid. So for years afterwards, he would go to school and kids would like pick on him because of it. Like he would walk down the halls and they would make like lightsaber. He was the
only kid in his fucking class that was a movie star.
I don't know. They took it out on him. So I don't know. Some will numbers. And then he was in.
Fuck you.
What was he? Was he in Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, and that was one of the coolest Christmas movies ever.
Yep, that's the same little kid. Yep. The pod race scene I loved. I think that was badass.
That was the coolness for real.
Let's see. I think that's about it. Like the only scenes that stand out to me are the pod race and the double-edged lightsaber.
Well, that was one of the first times they introduced anything fun. So the only other fun thing you ever see in the Star Wars series is the chessboard.
Oh, yeah.
On the Millennium Falcon. You hear about arena games, you never see any arena games. You see the fucking pit happen.
Right.
When Luke gets tossed into the fucking...
Oh, the Rancor.
Yeah, the Rancor pit. Yeah. That's not really a game, that's more of entertainment.
Right, for Jabba.
You don't see games in the movie series at all. And this is like one of the first times you get to see something like that.
No, that's true. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
You got a point. You're good. And then speaking of which, we see Jabba in this movie.
True. Yeah, because he's at the pod racing. That's right. He's chilling up in the highest stands and shit.
So we get that. The Gungans overall, like their whole thing, I think it's just more of the way they talk that annoys the fuck out of me. But
I don't like anything I have to read subtitles for.
Yes.
I wish I just knew all languages.
Yeah. But then again, even like I said, with the trailer where the droids are coming out, the battle with the droids and the Gungans on Naboo is a badass scene where they're like launching those like electric balls.
That's like the start of the new era of CGI, and it's like, look what we can do now. And we really started a generation with a fucking Star Wars movie with some of the greatest CGI we'd seen in 10 years.
Oh, I'm with you. So overall, so you seem to like it a lot more than most people.
I did. I really enjoyed it. It was nostalgic as shit growing up. It was cool.
It's good.
Rewatching it? No, fuck. It took way too long to get through that movie.
That's what I was waiting for. I was like, I know it's there. It's gonna come out. But yeah, no, and I feel like
the fuck on.
Which is why I had you rewatch them. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I can do reviews without rewatching it. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on it. But overall, so my thing is, and we'll probably touch on this on all 3 reviews, the whole prequel aspect, is it needed? Because we heard about this especially in episode 4, when like Luke is talking to Ben Kenobi, and he's like, I knew your father. He was a great pilot. I knew him in the Clone Wars. And so we'll talk about each little line, because pretty much there's a sentence for each movie. And for this one, it's basically like, oh, he's a great pilot and stuff. And we kind of see, like, oh, Anakin does the pod race, and then he ends up going into fucking space, and is
then
still
blows up the fucking Death Star as a child.
And he's still holding his own. And it's like, okay, but is this movie actually necessary, in your opinion?
If you're trying to learn more about Darth Vader, yes.
Okay. And then...
Because this is showing what he went through to get to the point where he is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you start seeing all of the sorrow and the revenge bullshit right at the beginning.
Fear leads to anger.
Exactly. But, like, it's straight from the get-go with his character development and everything. You see every little step he goes through towards becoming the Sith Lord in this series.
I gotcha.
So I do see it necessary.
And then the last thing that's, like, super controversial that I don't think they ever talk about ever again, the midichlorians. Do you have any thoughts about the midichlorian?
I don't remember who those were.
It's like it's the things that bond us and keep us together. Like the Force is made of midichlorians.
I don't remember none of that part.
Yeah, that's Qui-Gon has like this long speech about it, and once he said it, like everybody was like, "The fuck is that?" But they're microscopic organisms, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. So, which there's some fun theories about how midichlorians are basically like single-celled organisms, but they're still Force sensitive. I don't know. It's weird.
Crazy as fuck.
A little bit. Okay, so that's all I got for episode 1. Overall, I'd say it's better than most people give it credit for. It's not great, but it's better.
Oh, it's definitely not the best movie of my lifetime.
Yeah, no, for sure.
No.
That's true.
No.
But that's it. Thank you for coming back.
Yes.
And we will see you guys next time for episode 2, The Clone Wars.
Ooh.